Hello, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally. Hope you all are well and life is good. So many of you have been asking, and I do keep saying this each week, but I'm going to keep throwing it up there because you keep asking, so you can find it easily. If you are out of holistic total body support, I would love, it looks like we're going to be about mid-April before we get that back in stock. However, I have, I think about 80 jars of the cat version left. It is expired. I can't sell it to you. I can ship it to you though. And so if you need some jars, just email my support staff at Dr. Ruth Roberts at drruthroberts.com, and it costs me literally $5 a jar to ship it from Amazon. So if you would be willing to pay that, that'll help kind of not make me go in the hole on it, and that will help quite a bit. So if you need that, go for it. So again, we should have that back in stock hopefully mid-April, and I am excited when this comes back because it's in a much larger jar, so it will be more economical, and it is formulated for both dogs and cats. The big difference between the dog and cat formula was frankly taurine. Cats require sufficient taurine to be eaten every day in order to keep everything working properly, especially their little hearts. And so given the heart disease issues and things of that nature, and then the whole grain-free food debacle, additional taurine doesn't hurt anybody. So let's pop over to the Facebook page and take a look at the questions there. The other thing is the iPets Ally website we are working on. We should have at least a test version of it ready for you to take a look at March 1st, somewhere between March 1st and March 15th. And I am really excited about it because that has been one of the banes of my existence. It will offer a platform where you can ask questions and have a forum like we have here on Facebook without having to actually have a Facebook account. And that way, your comments and discussion and things of that nature will remain private. So the first question is from Bettina about Thuja, and she bought the bottle of Thuja and in January of 19. So a good rule of thumb is 2 years minimum from purchase date is when the product should be good through. And let me just pop back over to the camera and see if I can do this. See if I can show you. So on many products, and hopefully, yeah, that's actually working, there is a best used by date. And here's Pepe announcing his presence. So this one is best used by May 18th of 2021. So you want to look for that lot number. Sometimes it's on the label, sometimes it's on the bottom of the bottle. And if you're using a tube of something, sometimes it's on the crimp of the tube. So that's the best place to look for it. So again, the minimum of 2 years. So this says it's expiring in May of 21, which is a year and a couple of months from now. And I bought this about a year or so ago. So 2 year is a great way to sort of say, okay, this probably is fine by now. Because for some reason, there are products where they don't have an expiry date or even a produced on date, and sometimes you'll see that as well. So for those of you that don't know, Thuja is what I suggest using. There is an oral and a topical one. The Wise Woman Herbals is one of the few that has an oral Thuja product, but it is used to help sort of detox after vaccines. And so what I suggest doing is If you need to have your pet vaccinated, use it for, get the vaccine, start it that night, use it twice a day for 5 days at the rate of 1 drop per 10 pounds of body weight. If your pet has had a rabies vaccine and something weird is happening, behavioral changes, things that make you think of issues there, then I would use it for 21 days. All of a sudden, your sweet little puppy is turned into a raging monster. That may be the rabies vaccine. So much better to use it before a problem is created rather than kind of wait to catch up. So that is that. And let's see, Jan, I'm not sure if we got this totally answered yesterday. So yes, you can use all of these things together. And yes, as many folks point out, there is not, none of these things are without potential cost. So whether you're using prednisone, Cytopoint, Apoquel, all of that stuff, we're manipulating the immune system, and there is a potential cost to it. Now, Elizabeth points out that she had her 10-year-old go from having go from a relatively chill cancer, if you will, to a really aggressive one. And yeah, they're going to tell you that it was all fine. And there's a lot of folks out there that are saying, no, it's really not fine. And yes, we are manipulating their immune system. And so if we have, cancer already, adding another immune suppressant or an immune manipulator is just not a good idea. And I'm so sorry you had that experience, Elizabeth. I know you've dealt with cancer quite often. And yeah, I think probiotics is a really good plan. Jan, and this is the thing, is that skin disease, it has so many different causes. It is a bear to figure out sometimes where things are coming from. And as I talked about with allergies the last time, many people think it's all food allergies, and often it isn't. It's environmental allergies. So use what you got to use to prevent your pup from tearing himself to shreds, but definitely, try to work on some of these other options. And Erin, I'm so sorry about this. Hopefully this is not a mast cell tumor, but if it, I think you're doing the right thing given the kind of the history that you've had with your guys. At the bargain price of $1,300, it just is like, golly, dang it. Hopefully it is just a wart, but this is a good thing to kind of keep rolling on. Mast cell tumors actually often are well diagnosed by an aspiration. It's very easy to get cells out. However, if your pet has been taking prednisone or antihistamines, it will disguise the cells. And we've had to, go back and ask the pathologist several times to get things taken care of. So for those of you that are not familiar with mast cell tumors, mast cells are the cells in circulation that produce histamine, and they do us a great favor when we get stung by a bee or have an allergic reaction. They kind of localize the inflammation. However, in certain breeds of dogs, unfortunately bully breeds, Boston Terriers, and a couple of others, they are getting more and more predisposed to mast cell tumors, and they'll kind of pop up as innocuous looking little bumps, sometimes itchy, sometimes not. But I think you're doing the right thing, so you know what you got going on. And then we'll find out what that is and go from there. Hopefully it's a wart or a papilloma. And the thing to be cognizant of is, thank goodness, it's a benign tumor, but it is a benign tumor, which means that the body is not working properly and not getting rid of stuff the way it should do. So hopefully everything went well. I think that was happening Sunday. Let's see, Sita is asking about the 30 to 40% protein if not kidneys work too hard. And so the idea is that The recipe is in about 30-30-30 split when you use carbohydrates, and when you're unable to use carbohydrates, then that ratio comes up to about 40%. So it does look like they cook down and go away. So that's not unusual. So there's, little flecks of veggies in there, but where much of the veggies are in the broth. And that's somewhat by design. So dogs and cats actually do not have cellulase, which is the enzyme that breaks down the cell wall of vegetables. And because we are cooking, we're essentially pre-digesting the vegetables and making all of those nutrients accessible to them. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah, leafy greens definitely do double it up and get going from there. And Michael's asking about a good recipe for a healthy dog treat. And Michael, I'm actually glad you're not using the Costco stuff anymore, because it's been issue. So there is a recipe on my blog about how to do homemade liver treats. And then, frankly, so if you're using treats for training, I think that's a great option for, just, sort of distracting your dog as you dash out the door, things of that nature. Definitely a great idea. And I think you got lots of help as far as what to use for treats. But yeah, Erin's right. Use jerkies, use frozen veggies, use pieces of carrots and green beans. Definitely kind of switch those up, because what we're starting to see is allergies to green beans, allergies to carrots, because this is a really common treat that's given, and we give them day after day after day after day. And just go for some real pieces of food. I think, and Margaret, that's a great recipe. And if your pup is not allergic to gluten, I think it's wonderful. You can also use things like cassava flour if your pet has sensitivities to gluten and things of that nature. So that's great. And then use things like real food. I think that's best. And then Pamela, let's see, yeah, wonderful. And the ricotta and spinach cheese cookies. So one note here, oat flour, we all often see that this is a gluten-free grain, and it can be, but more often than not, it's actually contaminated with wheat. I think Bob's Red Mills actually has a gluten-free oats. So just kind of play it by ear. If you notice there's a problem with it, then switch things up. But the other thing I was going to say is that we get focused on treats, and if you're training and things of that nature, I think they're great and they're useful. But in many cases, we end up making this is how we may end up making our pets too heavy, is that we overfeed them treats, forgetting how much calories they add up, especially for little guys. So, Michael, great question. And let's see, Karen is asking about, actually, I think we talked about this a little bit, and then you got a couple of additional comments. So, Karen, glad to hear that it's not so hard. And I finally am getting I'm sorry guys, it's like everything gets smooth and I start on a project and it gets thrown up in the air. But we do have a new cooking video that should be up within the next week or so, and certainly will be on the new members area. But it is really easy. It does take a little bit more effort, but for Mona and Pep, for these, and granted they're tiny guys, it took me about, it takes us about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes a week. When we had 10 pets, we had 5 dogs, which ranged in size from 80 pounds to 9 pounds, and 5 cats. We were able to make all the food we needed for the month within about 2 to 3 hours from cleaning the veggies to cleaning up the pans, and freeze it all. So there's definitely a way to do it, and especially if you've got freezer space, Karen, that helps tremendously. And Donna, I think I answered this question, so we're looking at mid-April at this point. And Karen, I will ask Jake what's going on, because he should have responded to you by now. So I'm going to make a note for myself right now and figure this out. But basically, again, the deal is it cost me $5 to ship a jar over. All right, so, oh, and you did get a response back saying mid-February, and you know, life just keeps getting longer and longer. But if you are out, Karen, just email us at that Dr. Ruth Roberts at drruthroberts.com. Email address, tell Jake how many jars you would like. He will send you an invoice through Shopify for the shipping cost and get that shipped out to you. And let's see, so Becky, I think we got that going. RX vitamins, you're right, and that's kind of what I used to use in a pinch. I think that's not too bad. And then canine whole body support is glandular. The thing I found out about though is that it actually is not going to balance a diet completely, and especially the cat one, you do have to add additional taurine. So you still will need to add taurine and calcium for cats to the cooked food, and then for dogs add calcium, and I think it was short in, actually I don't know what it's short in because that was the issue, it's a proprietary label, and even their support staff don't know what's in it and where it's short, where it's a problem. So hopefully that is helpful. If you need standard process credentials, they are available, and I have an exciting opportunity to be able to sell standard process products through the website again, which is really, really great. So I think they're starting to relent and realize that you guys need access and you can't get it. So that looks like that's what we've got today. Again, we've got iPets Ally coming up, available 1st of March for everybody to take a look at, and then March 15th we'll be able to sort of release it to the world and make sure that everything's good. So what I'll do is, when that becomes available, is everybody that has already purchased the original Crock Pet Diet or a consultation or one of the other programs, we'll just give you access to play around in there for a month or so. And then I'm going to ask you to take a yearly subscription. You will get a reduced rate of $99 a year for as long as you continue to renew it. Normally it will be $150 after sort of our promo period. But we'll continue to do weekly support. We'll have an area available where you can post comments actually in the web page instead of in the Facebook page, should you choose. And we'll keep the Facebook page open as well. And I'll also be doing a monthly broadcast kind of on the whatever topic you guys want to talk about, and then a follow-up Q&A as well for the sort of premiere version of it. So that's what I have for you this week. Many, many thanks for your support over the years, and I'll answer more questions next week. So until then, remember, your pet's best health starts in the bowl. Many thanks.